Williams here, and we're live again on YouTube. I hope you all had a good Easter weekend. We had kids and grandkids down everywhere, so yeah, that was good. And we had some food, big Chinese. So yeah, a good weekend. I still managed to put in a good few hours tying every day. Working on long cast this week. All the tails are done, and I'm going to start. Well, I've started bodies tonight, or this afternoon anyway. So started the bodies. So what have we got? We've got Wednesday, Thursday. So I've got 3 days to finish all the bodies, which should be okay. And they all got to be epoxied. So I need to get a batch done tomorrow, like a couple of hundred, and then start epoxying. So if I do a batch of epoxying, what have we got? So back Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, I don't think I got as many as normal. So I think there's probably, tell you what, I got a rough idea here. So there's most of the long casting there. Yeah, I didn't do like tons of each. I've done about 30 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some on the back there. So I reckon, yeah, 350, 400, something like that, guys. So yeah, yeah, that would be about right. I've still got a couple of stalkers from last week to finish. Oh, it's a new one actually. So yeah, a couple of stalkers to finish from last week. Just pop that out a bit. That's better. So yeah, I don't know if there's any hot fishing gossip going around. We are going to Testwood on Saturday morning, so there'll be an early one Saturday morning. This is one of the new long cast guys here, with that sort of golden green. It's a new one there, and I'm going through those now, and that's what they look like when they're finished. I done quite a big batch of these, perhaps 40 or 50. That's quite nice in a traditional sort of black and green there. So I get those finished early tomorrow morning. I get about 200 done before I start epoxying. Right, nice bit of fly action there. Who's that? Richard. Beep beep. I need a bell. I was going to get a bell. Today I didn't get a bell. Beep 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 beep. Yeah. So what I've done, like I do with all those tails are all on in position and everything. These are 8 short. Nice. It's a nice soft gold wire. And I want the rib. These are good size flies, so I want the rib to stand out. So it's a medium wire. If I was doing a buzzer, I'd probably use the small. So what I'm doing now is taper in that shape, just a little, just a slight taper from the back up to the bead. Not much on these because it's a long cast pattern, so I don't want it mega chunky. And then 4 equal sort of turns, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2. So pull down. And a whip finish. 1, 2, minimum of 3. That one will take 4 because it's at a nice level with the bead. I don't want it going over the top of the bead and looking crap. And then snip that right off. It's going to be good, isn't it? Black and green's always been good, whether we go back to the Viva, the Montana, and that nice bit of gold in it in a long cast. So that'll be good. That will be good. Let me just check you guys. I still don't know what I'm doing. Right, I've got a couple of things to go through with you. A couple of questions being asked, which is good. So if anybody does want to talk through any questions, you know, if you want to drop me some questions in advance. Lovely smelling here. Done homemade lamb kebabs on the barbie for tea with some pita breads and some salad and raw onion. Cheers, guys. Right, Richard Wilkins. He's asked a few questions on leaders. Quite good. And the first thing about leader, talked about how to sort of rig up a buzzer rig or time droppers. Okay, so I've got this. This is my new £400 reverse. No, it's not. It's a bit of garden string, guys. Okay, so this is how I don't use droppers that many because I fish sort of still waters, or sometimes, you know, big fish still waters. There's not so many about now. They tend to be one fly only rules, don't they? So, but if you're fishing the reservoirs, you know, you've got more options to fish teams of 2, 3, and do they fish 4 flies? I don't think so, but up to 3. But this is how I do my dropper knot. I'll show you now. We got sledge fly fishing, loving the mini white ultraviolet stalking bug. Yeah, thank you, buddy. Good to see you back with us. So this is my leader. Okay, this is going to be my end of my fly line, which I'm going to put in the cat basket. So let's say this is my 10-foot leader. I'm just going to put a bit of marker pen on it there, because I'm going to show you. It'll be easier to show you. So this is my 10-foot leader, say from here to the point, and I want to put a dropper about there, about my big gob. Okay, so I want to put a dropper there. So this is how I do my droppers. Okay, so I've got my complete leader. I get my scissors and I cut my leader in half. Okay, so again, this is the part that's going now to my fly line. Okay, so that bit there is going to become my dropper. This is the bit now about 5 or 6 foot going to the point. Okay, so I lie that on top. I make a loop like a uni or a grinner knot. Okay, and I go under and around 3 times. So through 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I've gone around that, and I'm just going to pull that up probably about 80-90%. I don't want to pull the guts out of it. Okay, and then there's the piece that's going to become my dropper. This is the 6 foot to a point. So the piece that's going to become the dropper, do the same. I make a circle without the cat chasing it. Grey paw there. Right, so I make a circle there, okay? And again, the circle I make back towards my thumb and forefinger, and I hold it, okay? So then, again, I go over, under, which is then through the loop. Over, under, 3 times, and I pull that about 80-90%. So I got a knot there and a knot there, and as if by magic, just gently pull that tight. Okay, so the tag end I can get rid of. And that piece there, look, is going to become my dropper. So I would have tied that a little bit longer than that, because time you tie a fly on now, okay, you're going to lose. Okay, so I'd have made it twice as long as that, okay, for ease of tying the fly on. But the good thing is with this, okay, that knot there is going in the right direction. All right, it's going towards the point fly. Benny, oi, Benny, get here. Sorry, Tomcats are attacking the girl cat. Come on in. Come on. Right, so that's my dropper knot there, look. Okay, so it's facing the right way. There's the point fly. So I'd have one fly on there, and then roughly, if I was having a 12-foot leader, then 5 or 6 foot up, I'd have that one there. All right, so that's my complete leader, which I cut in half. This now is the 6 foot, okay, which has got a knot in it, and the dropper piece there goes through that. There's a knot there, and they're butted up together. So that's butted up against there, guys, okay? So there you go. That's my dropper knot. I say I don't use it that much, but I haven't, that sort of knot hasn't let me down. I have had double figure fish. I don't know whether it was on the point or the dropper. On more than one occasion, I've actually hooked 2 fish, and it has broke them, but I think probably most leaders do if you hook 2 fish. I have actually landed 2 fish twice, I think. Anyway, but there we are. But that's my dropper knot, guys. All right. So if anybody needs to see that again, we can do that again. We can do that again. So if you was fishing a super long leader, like 18 foot, I never have done because I don't do a lot of reservoir fishing. But you could do that twice. So you could make that break twice to give you 2 droppers and your point fly. All right. So what have we got here? Oh, sorry guys, I'm a bit slow here. Steve Smith, Steve the Curry, even Steve. What have we got? Hi Chuck Fluffer. At last, I have booked today at Moor Hen Fishery. A week today. 4 fish ticket, £53. If you don't catch your limit, you can return to accomplish your bag. Complimentary teas. Sounds good. Look forward to that report. Never been to Moor Hen Fishery. I don't know, is it down by Havington Way? Something like that? Possibly. Oh, there we are. So our friend at Sledge Fly Fishing, who does the videos as well, he said, have you tried the moorhen bacon butty? Supposed to be, is that a moorhen bacon fly butty or a moorhen bacon butty? I think it's a bacon butty. Steve the Curry, coffees and a bacon butty charged. It looks a stunning fishery. I believe the average weight is something like 3 to 6 pounds. I don't know about the 3 to 6 pound, but I'll guess like 3 to 4 pound, I reckon, but that'll be good. So we look forward to hearing off Ruby Steve Curry. Amazing, thank you, mate. And Steve Smith, yeah, occasional browns, a lovely looking venue. Good. Right. Next on the agenda, guys, excuse me, which is another question by Richard, all right, is about leader material. Dean Page, say Pisa if you saw this message. Did I say it? I think so. Right, so talking about different materials for fly leader. There's millions in it. There's absolutely millions of leaders, okay? And I think the leader material comes down to sort of two types: fluorocarbon and normal monofilament, okay? My way of thinking, all right, on leader material, excuse me guys, the allergy. Do you know what, guys, I've an allergy now, 56. I've had allergy now for about 48 years. And I've been through the lot. Right, okay. So my way of thinking with leader material, fluorocarbon goes virtually clear in water, okay? So that's what I want to use, all right? Why would I want to use a leader that stands out a lot? For example, like the old Maxima Chameleon, you know, about as strong as it gets, Drennan subsurface, as strong as it gets, but that's about the thickness of £6. But the plus side on all those leaders, they're very strong and they're very abrasion resistant because they're thick, okay? But having a thick leader, is that good for trout that might be spooky, okay? So my way of thinking is, if I can use, or if I can find and use a good, strong fluorocarbon, winner, lamb kebabs I had for dinner, okay? So I think with fluorocarbon, and I think with leaders, a lot of people seem to keep wanting the super finest leader. But the problem is with that, if it's super, super, super thin, sometimes the downside of fluorocarbon is going to be the knot strength. And if it's super, super fine, it's not going to be that abrasion resistant as good, is it, you know? So I started using a Seagar, okay? Seagar, and it was Grand Max, okay? Now, the Grand Max comes on a red spool, okay? And 100 meters is pretty pricey at about $26.99 for 100 meters, okay? But that's probably going to last most people a season or so. So is it expensive when we're paying a couple of £100 for a day ticket? Probably not really, okay? So Grand Max in the sort of trout leaders, I think. Anyway, I was using the one, Taffy, let's have a look here, just like to say he bought a Rio floater. Whoa, so throwing my old Cortland out. If anybody doesn't know, Taffy's had a Cortland Pink 444 on his Intrepid rim fly for, I'm guessing, 30, 40 years, and his line had more cracks than a broken piss pot, as all Cortlands do when they're 40-year-old. So big well done to Taffy, who's treated himself to a new Rio floater. And I hope you took the advice as well about putting it on a larger arbor reel, not wrapping it on that thin centre of that old rim fly. So yeah, very, very good. Very, very good. Good to have Taffy back tonight as well. So we were back on leader. So I started using the Seagar Grand Max. Okay, so in 12.5 pound. Now 12.5 pound probably sounds a little bit heavy. You know, you think 8 or 10. Some big fish venues have a minimum of 10 pound, I think, like Testwood does. But the 12.5 pound Grand Max has a diameter of 0.24. Now, most 8 pound leaders, all right, have a diameter of about 0.24. So what you've got then, you've got a strong breaking strain, 12.5 pound, that's a bit thinner. So do I want to use the 8 pound in that one, or 7.5? that's probably as thick as 6. No, I don't want to use that, because I'm thinking now, okay, it's thickness of £6, but it's not going to be that abrasive as £12.5. And my £12.5 is only the diameter of around £8 or £9. So to me, something like that, it's number one, fluorocarbon, all right? It goes virtually clear in water. Number two, it's got a strong break-in strain, all right? And number three, the diameter's pretty good. If you wanted to say, you know, if you only ever bought Maxima Ultimate Green at $3.99 a spool, the only downside of it really is the $26.99 tab you're going to have for a spool. So all my leader and bits and pieces I buy from Gary Evans in Cardiff. Why? Because I worked there for millions of years in the fly shop before I left. I quit a week before COVID hit us. So how long have we had COVID? About 4 or 5 years. But that's when I finished. So I've been in the tackle trade all my life. So I always buy, I don't need to buy a lot of stuff. I got 1 million rods, 10 million reels, and quite a few flies. So leader, you know, is something that you use. Indicators is something I use. And the plastic trout tubes that you put your fish in when you get them in, that's what I use. But I always buy them from there. And the boys, Paul at Gary Evans, always looked after me. But then once they sent me some leader, which I did look on their website, okay? Again, it's a Cigar, it's a fluorocarbon, and it's called a Real Soft. And 100 meters of that, I tried it, perfect. Up to £10 it goes, okay? Up to £10. Diameter of 0.26, which is a little bit thicker than the Grand Max, okay? So that's probably around about £9, but it's a strength of 10. But the plus side of it is, it's half the price. It's $12.99 for 100 meters, all right? So that's what I've been using the last season. So I've been using Cigar, Real Soft, £10, all right? You know, I don't have any problems with it. I'm sure I've had the odd breakage, as you always do, if it scuffs a little bit or skags a little bit, okay? But I've been using the Cigar Real Soft, £10, 0.26 diameter at $12.99 for 100 meters. So, guys, that's another winner all round. It's half the price. It's fluorocarbon. It's strong. It's very abrasion resistant, and the diameter's not bad. Suits me fine. All right, guys. So that's what I'm using at the moment. Cigar Real Soft in £10. Fine. So let me just catch up you guys. Thanks. 12.5. Cigar, here I come. Very good. Just have a little check with your knots. You've probably seen me a million times tying a new fly on, and I always do a 7-turn blood knot, 7, and then go back through. But just be careful when you're doing your blood knots. That's the eye, okay? There's my Cigar. So we go through, don't we? Yeah. So I pinch a loop as you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know whether it's 7.5, but then it goes through, okay? So that's a blood knot. If you put it back through there, they call it a tucked blood knot. I don't, because I don't like that knot, and I find it never joins up nice and neat and tidy, like this will now when I showed you. And I find when the knot forms, it's again not very neat and tidy. It might be strong, but I don't like it, okay? So when you pull this down, I always use my thumbnail to sort of help it, okay? Go down like that. Nice, neat knot. And why I don't pull it tight up here and slide it down. If this knot cuts into this leader here, then you pull it down. The fact is, it's, you know, where I just grabbed that with my nail is a little scag there. You probably won't see that, guys, or you might do. You know, you can see it there, just above one of my, or just below one of my chins. See, now that's what happened if I formed the knot there as tight as I could, then slid it down, scagged again. That's what would happen. So that knot pulling down on this is going to rough up that end bit of leader, which is then going to become your weakest bit. So yeah, am I going to get my scissors to cut that off now? So that's that, guys. Okay, so it's a seven turn blood knot, just like that. So a little slurp. You know, I didn't have a beer when I got on the barbecue. Good. Oh, hey, we got a couple here. What have we got here, guys? Steve Smith, bloody tablet keeps sending messages before I get finished on Sledge. Do you know a good loop hook knot to give the lure more movement, please? Well, there is one, isn't it? And it's the best one ever. It's called a Rapala knot. I have used it in the past to catch some of these big things behind, like tarpon and things like that. That one on the boat there is about £100, but I actually caught that off the shore. My wife sat on the shore there taking the picture. I got it to the rocks about 3 times after an hour and thought, because it's all volcanic rock, treacherous, how am I going to get it up? So some locals came past in a boat. But yeah, a Rapala knot. Look up a Rapala knot, okay? I think that's the best knot you're going to get. How much advantage you're going to get on that, mate? I don't think a great deal. I think your normal knot pulled down to the eye is fine. But look up Rapala knot. Once you've got it done, it's really quite easy to do. It doesn't seem a full knot, but it's foolproof. Leaders I was using on that bad boy up there was £100 fluorocarbon, and that was by Sierra, or the company was Sierra. I think it was Sierra, but wow, you want to try, it's about that thick, £100 fluorocarbon. Try forming a knot in that, and it's hard. Honestly, it's like a nail. It has to be, because I was using it with no wire, and even the toothy critters, barracuda and stuff like that, weren't biting through it. So yeah. But so look up, mate, a Rapala knot. I think that's the best one. Just have a little look what it's like on light leaders. I don't know. I know it's used for heavy leaders, for big plugs. I was using, what was I using? 130 mil plugs like that. Hendon, were they Hendon poppers? I can't think anyway, but good fun. All right, guys, so have a look at that, my old mate. Tim Brandon, it's a regular name, I know. Well done, Tim. Good evening from chilly Dover. It's not too bad tonight. The winds seem to be warm and a bit southerly, but I was stood by the barbecue outside. We didn't eat outside, but it hasn't been too bad today. We've had bright blue skies today. That's good. Ransom Crawlers, here we are. Good evening, Martin. Off to Manningford tomorrow. Seems to be fishing well at the moment. Yeah. I always use Orvis fluorocarbon. Agree with the tuck knot. Never cinched down well, or slides down well, I guess. Yeah. Do you know what? I think I used to use Orvis Mirage leader. Was the first fluorocarbon leader I ever used, like 35 years ago. And I can remember 35 years ago, it was £8.50 for 20 meters. on a bad day, like I just trash a spool, you know. So yeah, that was expensive then, but yeah, always good. I think with any fluorocarbons, when I was in the tackle shop, I think when we started stocking reviews, that was, I think it was very popular anyway because people were asking for it. So we decided to stock it, and then that became very, very popular. Other than that, the full-in mill, you know, the full-in mill was always a massive favourite with anglers, and the airflow one was, because it was all on a buy one get one free, the airflow G3, but airflow have got I think 3 or 4 different fluorocarbons now. So yeah, that was the most popular ones anyway. That was the most popular ones. Hi from Donegal. Hello mate, how you doing? Hope you're all well there. Said hi. Yeah. Grandad Chris, is you late to the party again, Grandad Chris? Hi buddy, how are you today? All is good this end. Well done mate. I think you're late to the party though, bud. No, you're okay. You're okay. So so I hope that answers Richard's questions about leader. If I sort of summarise that, fluorocarbon, normal leader. I use fluorocarbon because it goes clear in water. So why would I want to use heavier, thicker leader that doesn't go clear in water? Because I want the chance, don't I, for it, the line to be sight free and the fish don't see it. And I sort of have a run-of-the-mill one then, if you like. Okay, I don't want one that's super fine because I think it's not going to be, you know, as abrasion resistant. And so I use in that one 10 or 12 pound in the Seagar. The only problem I had with the Seagar once, I went with Luke carp fishing. We were surface carp fishing, Luke Gator, and I had a tippet ring on. I had a tapered saltwater leader. It was a Rio saltwater leader, something like 30 pound down to like 16 or 12, to a tippet ring, and then just a short piece of fluorocarbon. And we were fishing like, they were fully milled dog biscuit type flies. The flat ones, they were the best. Looks like a little bit of carpet. They were deadly, and they got like a little bit of fluff sticking out the top. Absolutely deadly. You can gink them up, or you know, dry magic them up so they float nice. And the only time I had a problem with it a couple of times was when the carp come up and take the, you know, the chum mixer fly off the top, and you tend to strike off the top a lot quicker. I did have it break a couple of times on a tippet ring. Now whether that was the striking fast like that, or possibly the metal tippet ring was thinner than the sort of eye of a hook. But that's the only trouble I ever had. But it did happen a couple of times. But that was on a tippet ring, guys. I don't put my glasses on, guys. I'm not going to see anything, am I? Right. James, hello mate. Hello from Canada. I think you joined us last time. Well done, mate. Good to have you back. Steve the Curry. You only have one choice, so if you go to fly line, one choice only, floating, intermediate. So right, okay. Yeah, you can't. Well, I suppose you can have, but I mean, around the smaller still waters that are not that deep, and when you're stalking fish, you know, it's a floating line, and if I want to get down a bit deeper, you know, a floating line with a tungsten fly will get down. But especially in the winter, perhaps like Letchlade was, you really needed to go armed with an intermediate line, because let me show you guys. A lot of people used to say, oh no, fish the floating line, it fishes exactly the same. Guys, it doesn't. Okay, so right, surface of the water. Okay, surface of the water, bottom, fishes. It's not a very good fish guy, is it? Anyway, right, okay. So if you got your floating line there, okay, with a leader on, with a lure, okay, one of my black leeches, okay, down at 3 or 4 foot, and the fish want that fit pulled nice and fast, nice and quick. So what happens when you pull your black leech up on your floating line? Here's your leader. You pull quick. Don't matter if your fly's got a 4mm tungsten head that comes up in the water, and if you pull it quick, that'll be that far under the surface. Okay, so no good for pulling big lures unless the fish are close. With your intermediate line, fast intermediate I like, which is 1.5 to sort of 2 inches per second sink rate, or a die 3 inches per second. If that's my die 3, and you can see the whole line is sunk down there, and if I pull that pretty quick on there, that's going to stay at that deep. So if I want to track that lure deep, because the fish are deep, you need to do it with a intermediate or a sinking line, and it doesn't matter what sink rate line. You know, if you're fishing a reservoir that's very deep, they use die 7 lines or die 8 or booby bashers. These are like lead lines and sink 7 to 10 inches per second, but they're heavy. God, are they heavy. Thin to cut through the water, and all the super fast sinking lines are nearly always black or grey or dark blue. Lines generally get darker the faster they sink, guys, as well. So in answer to Steve's question, mate, it would be, for me, 90% of the time fishing a floating line, because I'm stalking, all right? And if I wanted to fish, say, a snake or a lure down, even if it's only down 2 or 3 foot, 2 foot, they still fish better on the intermediate line. So I could, you know, fish a snake on an intermediate line. Yeah, so pulling, lures, sinking line. If the fish are up in the water, you know, floating line, and you can still pull a leech, but, you know, just to remember, if you're pulling it quick, it's gonna ride up. But then the good thing is, like you see on a lot of my videos, you get the bow wave, don't you? Which hopefully we'll get on Saturday at Testwood. Hope we get some bow waves. Hope we get some dolphin-sized bow waves. So there we are. There we are, Steve. So there we are, mate. I think if you was fishing like Rockbourne, Chalk Springs, Moorhen, places like that, you could probably get away with the floating line all the time, you know? Okay, but if you're fishing waters, it might be a little bit deeper, and the fish are down deeper, and you want to track a lure deeper, get down on an intermediate. And be careful if they're not that deep. You know, what you don't want is a super fast die 8 line if you're only fishing in 4 or 5 foot water, because problem is, after a while, you're going to be, you know, snagging the bottom. So I think most guys would have a floating line, possibly a sink tip, line I never use, but possibly a sink tip for fishing, you know, sort of midges, you know, mergers under the surface and yells and buzz. But yeah, a floater, I like a fast intermediate and a die 3. I don't think I've used a die 5 since some horrible cold days at Letchlade, deeper water, fish down deep, you know. So, but 2 or 3 lines. I guess most people have, like Taffy. I bet he's got a blue intermediate as well, because years ago it was a peach intermediate and a Cortland ice blue intermediate. Again, everybody had one of those because they were really good, and you know, the line choice now is tremendous. So there we are, guys. I hope that's good. Mikey new. Hi, Martin. Whoop, late to the party. You are using the fluorocarbon for use on sinking lines. What do you use on dry flies? I use fluorocarbon all the time. Dry flies, I don't fish many of, because most of my fishing is stalking or pulling. All right. Sometimes in the summer, I might use like a Daddy or especially the what's the tackle shop in Stockbridge? You know, famous Daddies. Even I buy Daddies off him. Every time I go there, 6 Daddies or a few Daddies. Anyway, the name will come to me anyway, but not the Orvis shop, the one opposite, the one who's got more flies than I've ever seen in my life in Stockbridge. But yeah, so like he's got a Daddy there that's what it's like, unsinkable. But going back to leaders with that, so what I like to do with leaders for dry fly, all right, I like to put a little bit of floating material. Like I said, my favorite is the Tiemco Dry Magic. All right, that's a gel in a little tube, and like I say, you just put a little bit on your hand, like size of, you know, a half a pea, and then just work it into parts of your fly, you know, you want to. And then sometimes then, don't forget fluorocarbon. It does sink about 3 times the sink rate of normal line. But if you've got a big buoyant fly on the end, that's okay. If you were fishing a size 20 black gnat or a Kite's Imperial or whatever, or Tups, the fact is that leader might pull that tiny fly under. Rob Gent, got it? Rob Gent shot. Nothing's pulling a Rob Gent's Daddy or a hopper or something like that. So what a lot of people like to do, and I do sometimes as well, is degrease the last couple of foot of my leader with mud, you know, Fuller's Earth, Richard Walker, leader sink. It's all the same. It's all £2. You don't need to buy a 10 quid bottle of mud, because it's just get the little tubs of grey Richard Walker leader sink or Dragon leader sink, or I think the one I got is fully mill one. I think that's about £3 or £4, but it's like soft silt, you know, mud, and it's sticky. And if it starts to go dry, you can put a little bit of washing up liquid in it, because that's like a natural leader sink. So what I do sometimes, I put get a bit of mud on my finger, that degreases the last 2 feet of my leader, and that makes it sink, because I want the end of my floating leader to sink under the surface. What I don't want it like coiling on the top towards my fly, which that's probably going to be seen. So I'm quite happy with my leader just under the surface film and a buoyant fly on the end. All right, Mike, so hope that's good. Oop. Flies there. Sledge, yeah, I have been using the Rio Clear Intermediate line as a go-to, and I honestly think my catch rate has gone up. Yeah, a lot of people, now I can go back to the first clear line that sort of came out really about 35, 40 years ago. It won't be far away. And it was called the Slime line. I think Airflow brought them out, okay? And it was a clear intermediate line. But the only major problem I had with it, and I don't know if they're like it now, Tangle, chuck it out, put it back, retrieve it, wouldn't you? Dunk. You got 10 meters of line like that in a knot, because these clear intermediate lines used to tangle like hell. So I used a Rio intermediate line, which I got at a trade show once, was the Rio Camo Lux. Now that's a really quite nice line, all right? But my go-to sort of intermediate line now is that Airflow 40 plus. You know, you've got a thin running line, but you need the thin running line because you need it to be light, because you need the heavy head to pull the light line out. There's no point having a shooting head if you've got a very heavy running line, because it's not going to get pulled out, you know. But the Rio lines are good. Clear intermediate, I think now have got a lot better. I think Cortland done one, didn't they? They done a clear. I think Peter's got one. I think they do a clear camo. I don't know what that's like for tangling, but 40 years ago, the clear slime lines. Oh, honestly, it'd be like pulling back, say, some £50 clear monofilament, you know, line used for boat fishing. Tangle like hell, but I think they're a lot better now. but I still, use that 40 plus. But you can get 40 plus now, I think, with a clear head as well. So yeah, but Rio lines, yeah, as good as they're good. I use the floating line, don't I? So yeah, very good on that, man. And yeah, I think the catch rate, gotta be good. Grandad Chris, I'm experimenting with some green latex. Have you? I don't know, Chris, if I want to read anymore. Have I? Let me have a slurp. Hang on. Right, hang on now. Right, with some green, latex bodied black leeches. Whew. As well as some white latex bodied with red beads. Chris, I'm going to be worried here, mate. I will give them a bath at Testwood on the 17th, mate. Well, I'm sure it'll be good there. Make sure you've got a little bit of weight in those heads, because leeches can be not buoyant, but you got all that fluffy tail, we'll call it, which can trap some air. So yeah, make sure you got a 4mm brass or little tungsten on those, Chris. But yeah, let us know on your how you're getting on with latex. Looks like you got a bit there, mate. You got some green, you got some white latex. I hope it all fits, mate. don't send pictures, all right? Don't send pictures, okay? Steve Smith, Steve the Curry. Do you know Steve the Curry? We fished Chalk Springs for the first time, going back 2-3 years ago. And we didn't have a big crew. We had a crew of about 10, 12. And Steve was messaging me. He said, I'm going to come down fishing. He wasn't really well on the day. He said, I'll make you guys all a curry. And he sent me a list. Now, I've never met Steve the Curry before. I'll bring you down all in heated containers, because that's what he does. They're famous. They're the dog's dangly bits. And Steve rocked up about 10, 11 o'clock with curries, rice, potatoes, chapatis, breads, for everybody there. Never met the guy before. What an absolute diamond of a guy. And I've got to know him a lot now. 24 carat, mate. 24 carats, mate. Yeah, what a guy. But there we are. That's Steve the Curry. Why can't manufacturers explain that response like you have? You've made it so clear. Well, that's good. That's good. I suppose what helps, I've been in the trade for 40 odd years, and I like to think, I was tooled up, because that was my job, wasn't it? I was in the fly shop, running the fly shop and the mail order fly shop as well, while the boys were in the course, the specimen, and the spinning and sea angling shop. And they had they had Richard who run the carp shop there, Andrew on spinning, and a couple of boys there on the seaside. So everybody knew their job, and we were all good at our jobs, I'd like to think, anyway, so, but no, I tried to make it as easy as possible. Yeah. Rob Gents, yeah, I always thought his name was Rob Gents, but I said Rob once, I think his wife was here. No, Rob Gents was his surname. Is it Swiss or Swedish or something like that? Can't think of his first name, but wow, what a shop. Guys, if you go to Stockbridge, you go in the Orvis shop, don't get me wrong, it's lovely, it's a long shop, and it's designer. Go in Rob Gents. Look at that. Like me, you go in a shop and think, unbelievable. And how they cram all that gear in that shop, and it remains sparkling, clean and tidy. Unbelievable. Another cracking shop. Yeah. Grandad Chris, what's he doing now? Currently toasting your blog with our favourite tipple. Oh God. He's on Jack Daniel's honey. That is stunning. I did try about a year or so ago. I like a Jack Daniel's honey, because it's not like proper whiskey, is it? Because it's sweet. It's a bit like drinking Southern Comfort. It's quite nice, isn't it? But I tried to get into drinking a bit of whiskey and all that. I even bought some Japanese whiskey, and it's okay, but I don't possess any in the house here. Give me a Stella or a glass of wine, happy as a pig in shit, guys, you know. But yeah, but Jack Daniels, honey, and because it's so nice as well, and it's, you know, because it has that sweetness to it as well. And they do other ones, don't they? They do an apple as well. You know, it can be drunk too easy, too much. But there we are. There we are. I see what we got. Mikey New. I got Mikey New here. I don't know whether it's Mikey Newman or New Number, or I see a lot of the flies that you are using on the clear waters are fairly large. Do you use smaller sizes, 14 and 16, similar to those used on rivers? Thinking the smaller flies may work. No, you're totally right. And we had this conversation last week, really, when someone asked about, you know, choosing flies for brown trout. And, you know, there is no guaranteed super method for catching them, apart from the fact that we sort of agreed that smaller natural flies work. And I do like to use like a little hazy bug sometimes and something like that. Buzzers when available, mayfly nymphs, pheasant tail nymphs. But my stalking is mainly, you know, firebird stalking bug patterns. Most of them I've designed myself, haven't I, for years. And if you check out my last Facebook, there was last week, it was all stalking flies, but it was a lot of micro stalkers, micro copper and orange. Okay, not natural colours, but micro size 14, short as well. And there was micro, I think it was a little black and gold, micro perch, little micro damsels. So these are nice because they still have a little bit of weight as well. So you can still fish them blind out at 20 yards and they'll still go down a bit. So, you know, if you want a fast figure of 8, they're still going to stay down because there's a bit of weight in them. So yeah, the answer to that is now and then on tough days, but not so much river patterns, but as in wet flies, but certainly some sort of nymph patterns, mate. Yeah. Hey, Mark Osborne. Did I mention he's still the current Chalk Springs champion? So thumbs up to Mark Osborne from Costadel, Canvey Island. Wow, that's good. That's good. Got a snooker on now, Judd Trump against one of the Chinese guys, Zhu Yanglong. There we are. There we are. Yeah, so that's good, guys. That's good. So flies this week, guys. Because I'm fishing Saturday with a good crew. Saturday, me, Peter, Paul, Clive, Gizzy's mate, and Jeff. Good crew. Boslav Yugoslavi. This guy stole my lawnmower. I have no idea what he's on about. And I don't need one to cut my AstroTurf. Yeah, guys, so long cast flies, okay, which I didn't realise, but I looked through the other day, there's about 10 or 11 out of stock. Mark Osborne, he is still the Chalk Springs champion. Yep, we know. So yeah, on the long cast front, guys, okay, these are all tail only, okay, so the long cast, yeah, nice pearly cats. Well, there's a new one there, guys, really sweet hot head bronze gold mix, really nice traditional, like original Firebird. Again, these are all long casts, so these are all, well, they're all 10s or 8 short with brass heads, okay. Copper and orange. I'm actually waiting for that bright neon orange thread to come through. Looks like that company in the UK, which was Guides and Blanks. Yeah, they went belly up last year, was it? So yeah, they were the one I got that thread from. So I struggled to find that bright neon thread. I got others, but you know, like that's a lovely colour. So I might go over to that one. I have ordered some of that bright thread from the Cotswolds, and it was showing in stock. So hopefully that will be in tomorrow. Another new one there. That's the Mirage Copper and Mirage Gold. That'll be a mix set of those two. The favourite black and gold long cast. Another favourite, Claycy's Classic black and gold, and that's a mixture of black and gold in the tail. All right, there's the hothead bait fish. So I have been busy, guys, because these were done over the weekend, really. And then there's a new, damsel long cast. That's a nice new blue with strands of ultraviolet. And then that's the same brand, and that's got like a pale blue, a green, and strands of olive in that. So those two will be a set. Quite a bit I've done. That's a new set. The only ones I haven't got was those ones, and some had a green body, some had a yellow body, because I'm waiting for standard size 10B175s to come in, guys, which they should be here tomorrow as well. And the this type in the bright orange, I've got 50 or 60 there, which I've painted the eyes on, so they'll be ready for epoxy and probably tomorrow. So yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there's about 11 long cast patterns going on, so that'll get that. I haven't done any pink either. I've got to get some more pink, but that'll get that pattern or that category, the long cast category, up to speed. And I think it was about a month ago I done the same with damsels, and then like I could just about guarantee every day 4 or 5 sets of damsels would sell, different orders and what have you. So the damsels are looking pretty well out of stock now. So I'm already looking for next week, because damsels are probably still, one of the most popular flies, if not the most popular, as an all-rounder, stalking, pulling, twitching. So yeah, the damsels I will be doing next week. I've got some nice twin eyes, actually, which I did get the other month. Blue twin eyes, some bright red ones, so there'll be some nice little twin-eyed damsels as well. What have we got there? Grandad Chris, yeah. Sledge, Steve Smith, Martin. Last question. We haven't got to be, mate. I'm here. I'm a confident caster of a fly line, but what weight line would you suggest when fishing a 4mm long cast lure? Well, the long cast, Steve, are brass heads, okay? So, which you are, let's say a confident caster, you shouldn't have any problems casting those. Let's say you're an average caster, like most of us, an average caster. I think anything a 5 weight line up would be fine. Probably a 4 weight if you were fishing at close range. But yeah, so I think I'm not a one for having lots and lots of different type fly rods for different applications. Some people love using a 2 weight, 1 weight, and different things, which is absolutely fine. So my 7 weights, I find for me, that a great all-rounder. I can cast a long line, I can cast a shooting headline, I can cast a heavy fly, and I can cast an indicator rig. So that 7 weight lines and rods is a perfect combo for me. And even if you've got a 2 pound trout on the end, playing it is still good fun. The rod still bends, the fish still takes off and tail walks, still good fun. I haven't got to use an ultralight kit to have a bit of fun. So, but the main thing is, Steve, as well, just make sure you match up the right line to the right rod. Remember, you showed me once you had a little 6 foot Orvis rod. Was it a 1 weight or a 2 weight? I think. Wow. Yeah. And what you don't want, because the end of these rods are going to be very fine, you don't want to dink it with a weighted fly coming back. You know, I guess most of these rods are designed to be chucking little dry flies with double taper lines at close to mid-range, I guess. So yeah, so I think a 5 weight line up for a weighted lure. They're not tungsten, but I think 90% of people will call it a gold head fly. All right. A lot of people, I think probably a lot more people use a 6 weight outfit as an all-rounder. All right. I like to use a 7, but I've got Hardy Zephyr 6 and lines I haven't used for ages. So yeah. So no. So yeah, just match the tackle, you know, the line to the rod, and then just have a look. If you've got a very soft action rod that's very light, then you're probably going to have to buy a line suited to that type of rod. You don't want a shooting head distance line, you know, on a rod that's a bit dry and delicate. So yeah, make sure you get a more presentation line, but again, be careful, because presentation lines, they're not meant to be chucked with a gold head type fly. So balance the tackle out, I would say, Steve. 5 or a 6 weight rod, I'd probably say, as an all-rounder for you, 6 weight would be ideal. Something like a Rio Gold, not one of the glorified Rio Grand or the Stillwater Elite or the Outbound, not one of the glorified distance line, but the Rio Gold is a shortish headline, but it's more known as an all-rounder, a line for getting good distances with a little bit more presentation than a shooting headline. So yeah, that's where I'd be looking to go, something like that, or even a Snowbie line, like one of the white ivory lines, which are very, very good as well. But me, I think a Rio Gold on a 6 weight outfit for your type of fishing, you know. But if you're chucking heavy tungsten lures, which I know you've got because they're mine, you don't want to be doing that on your light outfit, because if you dink the end of your rod, the rod won't cast them anyway. You know, it won't feel right, it won't load it right. So, but yeah, if you're using gold head flies, I think 5 or 6 weight, but up it a bit for your tungsten flies. All right, mate. So there we are. Sled fly fishing yet? Did you say you had some double beaded eye damsels? I did. Well, I haven't got the flies, but I'll show you now. Tell you what, let me just get a beer out of the fridge. We're enjoying this, guys. We're enjoying this. I did put 2 Stellas in the kitchen fridge rather than have to go back to the garage to the stock. Right. Well, guys, it's getting past my bedtime, you know that, don't you? But I really enjoyed chatting to you guys, I really do. And answering all your questions as best I can. Oh, I got Jessie Cat that side, Benny Cat that side, and Pepsi sat over there on the chair. And the snooker on. Right, okay. Yes, they will be. Let me show you, because my little rest here, I've got my stuff on. Is it in this one? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I even got some micro ones and all, but I am getting a little bit fed up, guys, of trying to paint all these ones. And I must admit, the results is okay. So, because I can't always get the size I want for damsels. 2 secs, let me just get that back up on there. There we are. So yes, I mean, these are lovely, these metallic ones, but these are too big. These are a few pink ones I got from Germany, or I got left from Germany. But yes, I have got bright or metallic blue twin eyes there. And there. And there. And I got some really nice flame red as well there. Got some nice flow green. And I got some nice rainbow. Right, so yes, the answer to that, mate, is yes. The only downside of using not using twin-eyed beads is tying with a twin-eyed bead. I'll show you now. 4mm high-vis yellow. Is my last B175 left in the world. I had 30, Mr. Clacy managed to do him 12, and then I got more coming tomorrow, so yeah, but that's it. So if I'm using a gold head or a hophead fly, there's my bead, there's my hook. Job done. Can I do that with a dumbbell or twin eye? No. So what I've got to do that, you know, the fly goes in the vise. The hook goes in the vise. Bit of an under whip of cotton. Then the twin eye's got to go on the top. And you've got to whip it one way, whip it the other way. Figure of 8, like you're, you know, putting a boat mooring rope. Metallic green as well. Not many of those left. Dumbbell twin eyes, so I got quite a few, but yeah, so you've got to lock that off in position. Then I always like to make mine nice and neat by putting you know, some mirage through the eyes, so they just look that little bit nicer and different, or a bit of holographic. So then I line those all up on a card, then I varnish them. So that's before I've even started to tie the fly. I have to do all that, then think about tying the fly, or like say with the gold head or coloured head, done. So yeah, but I will be doing some. So I've got some nice ones happening. So some of those damsels will be happening. You know, if you've got any, you know, preference, Mr. Sledge Fly Fisherman, what you want, let me sort of know. I won't be starting them till what I'll probably end up doing is on Sunday starting to put some of those. I could probably waste 2 days of production, if you like, just putting twin eyes on the hooks, you know, to have enough for what I want to do. So yeah, cost effective. It's not as good, but the damsels with the twin eyes on look really good. They're not super heavy. They're just nice for fishing, you know, the top couple of feet of water. What do you think, Jessie? Jessie's a pitfall. Ben. So yeah, but I do like the damsels when they're finished. You know, they something nice about a twin-eyed damsel. But yeah, so that's good. So there we are, guys. So can you, it says on there, bead-eyed damsels, can you one, please? Come back to me, Mr. Sledge, on that. Is that, can you tie me one? Can you show me how to put the eyes on? Or yeah, let me know what you want on that, mate. Philly fan, what is that? Philly fan behind you. Top corner there is about 25-30 barracuda. Me and the wife had on a little half-day trip in, where was that? Cuba. That up there is a really, really big bull dorado that was 49.12. I think that was Tobago. What have we got? That's the white-tailed and sailfish, Tobago, and that's me on the rocks at Cuba where I caught it. That's a tarpon, about £100. We had a few over the holiday, but I was talking to the people in work. You know, I was told where to go and what have you, where to find these, you know, big tarpon on the rocks, and there's barracuda there. But I went there once for another holiday. The good thing is with Cuba, you can go to Cuba, or you could go to Cuba relatively cheap. You know, we used to fly into Cayo Coco and then get on our coach to Cayo Guillermo. I think it's about 40 minutes drive up, and there's only 3 hotels where we stayed. The Iberostar Daiquiri one, can't think, but 3 hotels, and then it was a bus or a taxi ride to the point there where those tarpon were. But I think there's a massive hotel resort being built there since, so yeah, I don't know if the fishing will be any good. I'm sure the fishing are there, but yeah, but I went there once for a fortnight, cocked up the whole moon cycle, never saw one for 2 weeks, but that's the way it goes, isn't it? You know, that's the way it goes. But there we are. Right. Grandad Chris, thanks for a brilliant show, Martin. Good luck at Testwood. That's Saturday. I'll be doing a video. I'll try and do something Saturday, perhaps a little, I don't know, because it's going to be the 100th fishing video, I think, or the 100th video, because the live ones don't count, but it's going to be the big one, the 100th video. So I think it worked out right at Testwood, being the 100th video. So that'll be nice anyway. Can you show one? Thanks. Sledge. ADHI 30. Well, I tell you what I can do, Sledge. I haven't got one finished, but I can get one for you finished on the next one. But I'm quite happy just to show you. If I got a big hook here, yeah, I got a big hook here. This is a size 8, but you're not going to be able to see very well here. So let me just see if I can get this a bit closer. Well, there we are. So, you know, if I'd have been putting a bead on, it took me 2 seconds, I'd have been thinking about tying the fly now, all right? But now I'm thinking about tying a twin-eyed damsel, or whether it's a twin-eyed cat or a humongous. I got gold chain drying up on the wall there. So right, so I got to get that little bed of cotton on the hook. Let me just have a look. I'll tell you what, I'll use one of these big pink beads. It'll be ideal. Wait for a big pink lure. These are big zonker pink lure. So there we are. I've got my twin-eyed dumbbell pink. Okay, so I've got to lie that on the top there. I don't want it too close to the eye. Okay, so what I do now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the same way. Now the bead on the piss now is kinked off like that. Okay, so then I go behind it, so those 6 turns can't flex loose a little bit. So that's quite tight now. Okay, see that, but it's still on the piss. So what I need to do now is straighten that up and go about 6 turns the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that's in position. Nice. Then now I do the figure of 8, like putting a rope like on a mooring cleat. Sometimes if you get a bit of a rough bead, this is where it snaps and I swear. But there we are. That's lovely. That's in position there. You can use whatever you want. Mirage. Lovely stuff, this. So, okay, some Mirage there. So I got this on top. Okay, and again now I'm going to sort of figure of 8 the Mirage around, but I'm going to do those same one-way turns. I'm going to go 2 one way, underneath, 2 the other. Okay, so I got 1, 2, underneath, 1, 2. I tend to come back for 1 more. Okay, tie that off, give it a snip, trusty whip finish tool, done. So that's all in position. Okay, there's your bead, and what I do then, I just, before I varnish it, I take it out, I put it on part of my vise there. See now that's actually, excuse me guys, that's actually out a bit because the hook's kinky that way. So I put my finger on top of the beads, straighten up, lovely, hook's nice and straight now. Alright, but you can see like how much more that takes to do. You know, if let's say I'm going to be doing 200 or 300 of those next week, I don't get fed up really with anything fly time because I love it, don't I? But yeah, in between doing some other things, that's why it takes that much longer. That was to do one twin eye, where, you know, half a second, normal hot head bead goes on. So I hope that's okay, mate. A lot of work goes into them. It does, mate. It does. There is no quick way about it. I've tried back in the day just a couple of turns, daub of super glue. Super glue goes sometimes white in water and a bit brittle, but no, there's only that way to do it. There's no other way. So yeah, you know, when you think I've got, there's not that many in these packages, 20, 40, 60. Well, that'll be all one damsel 60. So that's going to take me a couple of hours just to do that particular blue lot. Another 3 or 4 packs there. So I'll be lucky to get those done in a day. I'll tell you what I got you, which I bought years ago, is some tiny ones. Ideally they're a bit small. See that? I got those in about every colour known to man. Well, all the good colours. That's a gold. I've got a pale blue, I've got a dark blue, I've got silver, I've got pink. I think I got some nice blue somewhere because I was playing them in another box somewhere. But yeah, they'd be ideal on a little 14, 16 damsel. But again, all that fiddly little work and a smaller hook, you know? Or do I want to get a bead? Around. So, but we will get some of those damsels done next week, for sure. I'll try and get hold of some green, metallic green twin eyes as well, because that makes a really nice damsel, and it works well, guys. So let me have a look. What have we got? 8:20. My god. Well, that's good because there's an hour program to watch from last night, I think, isn't it? Nice and cold. So guys, I think, what have I got you? Richard Wilkins asked Nigel to release a 20 pounder. Yeah, I don't know if there's any giant fish in there. I did message Nigel today, said he's looking forward to seeing us. So yeah, I think what with Nigel, I think, you know, if he kept back, I think he used to keep back a couple of 100 fish, you know, every year to grow on. So the 10 or 12 pounders, they become the giants. They become the monsters, you know, for the year after. So I'm just looking forward to getting a bend in the rod, seeing those monsters cruising in the crystal clear water, catching up with the guys, catching up with Nigel. We always feed Nigel well. We always take him 3 boxes of cakes, and we all take food. And if he's not eating, we leave it with Nigel. So we look after Nigel. We keep him in food for about 2 days, and we take food with the cats as well. All 30 of them, I expect. Oh, there's some lovely little kittens here, about this big and all last time. And the little tiny kittens were in like the scrap metal. I could have took them all home. Being a cat lover, like, you know, I wanted to. I was looking for a bit for my barbecue, like a ceramic plate, which I found because it was a couple of old pizza ovens here, and there was like 2 little cats like this, big cuddling in there. I thought I wanted them, but they ain't coming in more. Like 3's enough. So there we are, guys. Sledge fishing, all the best. Steve Smith, tight lines for Saturday, buddy. Congratulations for 100th video. You're up, bud. Many thanks for our friendship, Steve Smith. Yeah, you are a good true friend, mate. All my friends, a lot of friends. Thanks to everybody for watching, guys. Been a bit of fun as ever. I think that's about it, guys. So let me think now. What are we now? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I've got to get all those flies finished, and a couple of flies for the boys for the weekend or something. So they've all got to be finished. Most have got to be epoxied by end of day Friday. It doesn't matter if I drag it over to Saturday, because Saturday I won't be here, but they'll get finished Sunday, ready for Monday. So yeah, so that's about it, guys. So guys, thanks to everybody who tuned in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do, guys. Okay, we just have a bit of fun. We have a bit of a chat. I think I've only got about, I haven't got 2,000. I see these like channels and they get hundreds of thousands, you know, subscribers. I haven't got 2, like, but guys, yeah, it's good to have a chat and good to have some fun and to show the videos as well. So yeah, guys, have a good night. All right, it's past my bedtime, and I will speak to you. It'll probably be, yeah, I don't think I'll get a chance now because I've got to get all these done. So every night I've got to be working all morning, all afternoon, and now every night or evening I've got to be epoxying, guys. So I'm going to be flat out now for 3 or 4 nights, and I'll speak to you. We'll do another Facebook Live, guys. Okay, let me know what you think or what have you. Okay, we'll keep doing this. And if you've got any topics, like Richard messaged me about leaders, you know, leader knots, dropper knots, types of leaders, you know, I can probably talk about most. All right, anything. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Speak to you all soon. Bye bye for now.